Okay, good morning. We'll go ahead and get started here this morning. Um, Thank you again for joining the MGT and SPURR Smarter Cloud Calling Collaborating Starts with SPURR webinar. Any better outcomes or any new features. It's voice only and doesn't allow productivity out of the office, right? If the pandemic showed us anything 5 years ago, we need to be agile, we need to be nimble. There's recent legislation that requires disaster recovery, requires solutions that if another pandemic happens or if an emergency situation is declared, that we need to be able to pivot and move to hybrid, to different modes of work quickly and easily. It's not designed for that great customer experience, whether it's your end users or the people on the other side. Communication has evolved over the past decade, right? There's less voice, there's more video, there's text messages, there's things like that, right? It's not as simple as picking up a phone and making a phone call anymore. There's so much more to communications now we have to take into account as well. It won't get the newest technology. Any features that come out, you very rarely will get those features added to a legacy phone system. If it's an analog or a digital system, you're not going to get those added. More than likely, those analog or digital phone system manufacturers, they're out of business. They filed for bankruptcy. They've been gone through multiple acquisitions. I mean, they just don't support that legacy system anymore. It's complex, like this, expensive and time consuming to install and maintain, right? You don't want to install a system that's not going to have the features you need, that's not going to grow with your organization. And then more importantly, you have to maintain that. One thing about SLED is the tenure of employees is long, right? So you may have somebody in your environment that's been supporting the phone system for 30 years, it's been installed, right? What happens when they retire? Who's going to maintain that? Who's going to master that system when that brain trust is gone from the organization? So phone systems can be looked at as a depreciating asset, right? Is the cloud gets better over time, where your on-premise phone system is only as good as the day it was installed, unless you have a modern phone system that may still be getting software updates on-prem. But let's be honest, a lot of on-premise phone systems are migrating to the cloud. Investment is no longer being done on those on-premise phone systems as much as they are to the cloud. And all the investments of all the major manufacturers are going to their cloud platforms because it's easier to deploy updates, to add new features, to enhance the experience without having to provide a software package that everybody has to install. With a cloud-based system, you can make sure everybody's getting the latest features, everybody's taking advantage of it, and everybody is actually benefiting from those features you're rolling out, right? An on-premise system is not going to get not as easily going to be able to get that AI overlaid onto it. That on-premise system is going to require those software upgrades for you to do a manual process where the cloud system is done on a rotating cycle and automatically pushed out to you. So let's talk about what a collaboration portfolio looks like. And everything we're going to talk about today, and Michael Rochman is going to talk about the SPURR contract at the end, is on the SPURR contract. I mean, it's available through the SPURR procurement process. So let's talk about applications, right? A modern communication system has to have four main aspects, right? Calling, the voice; meetings, the video, the real-time collaboration; messaging, being able to message, whether that's a text message, whether that is instant message, chat; and then contact center, right? Being able to serve your clients in your cases, right? These are going to be the citizens, the parents. You even in SLED, you have end users, you have customers, you have people you need to service and provide value to, and that's where contact center features come in. And there's all breadth and width of contact centers we can talk about, but a modern collaboration system, communication system should have these four main components available in the system. Let's talk about the platforms we offer here at MGT. We have six different platforms here that we offer, right? We have two that can leverage your existing Cisco investments. I know a lot of our customers, a lot of people out there have invested in that Cisco collaboration system. They have handsets, they have thousands of handsets, they have voice routers, they have existing telephony partnerships, right? They have legacy applications, right? So we can support you with two things: Cisco WebEx dedicated instance and MGT hybrid cloud calling, which we'll dive into. And then we have next generation cloud service. These are 100% cloud. They were born in the cloud, they were grown in the cloud, which is MGT voice, Cisco WebEx calling, Microsoft Teams calling, and then Zoom phone. And then you need to make sure whatever collaboration platform you look like can really serve your end users where they are, right? It's no longer a phone in the classroom. Well, most regulations require a phone in the classroom. Most regulations require a phone in public spaces, right? There are laws and regulations out there that require that desk phone to be there. So it's never going to go away in SLED. That's not where your end users are all the time. And they may not be where the future workforce is either, right? So we need to be able to provide those IP phones. We need to provide collaboration devices for rich meeting experiences. We're able to provide mobile access for either remote workers, mobile users, right? I'm sure you all have staff that go between sites, go between locations, aren't at their desk from 8 to 5. And then a desktop application, give them the flexibility to use a desktop application in place of in place of that desk phone, if that's the way they prefer and feel comfortable to communicate. A lot of today's users entering the workforce never had a desk phone. They've never had a landline phone. It was all mobile cell phones, right? So be able to give them that experience while providing a great work environment for them. So let's talk about how we can leverage our existing Cisco investment. So why would somebody look to leverage their existing investments? I mentioned them a couple before, right? So current PST and telco relationships. A lot of organizations have long-term contracts that just it's too costly for them to break those contracts and get out of those contracts. So they need to maintain that as well. The two solutions we're going to talk about allows you to do that. Existing router hardware, right? You may have just invested in brand new voice routers. We don't want to abandon that investment. We want to be able to still take advantage of those. Phone hardware. There's a lot of legacy phone hardware out there. There's a lot of handsets and deployment that may not be supported on the latest platforms, that may not be supported in the future on the latest platforms. So being able to leverage those existing investments without having to replace every single handset in your environment is really attractive to a lot of customers. SRST functionality, your survivable remote site telephony functionality, right? When you move to the cloud, that's one of the biggest concerns has been is what happens if my internet goes down. These two solutions can handle that. The cloud-born solutions also have those. They just work a little different. They're structured a little different. And then legacy integration. We've been working with several customers over the past couple of months that they have a couple business use cases that require an on-prem server. They may not support the latest TLS, may not support the latest security, may not support IPv6, things like that, right? So being able to leverage those existing legacy integrations is important. And the other thing is, if you're familiar with Communications Manager or Cisco collaboration, right? This is the same interface you use today. So Cisco WebEx calling dedicated instance. This is targeted for users with organizations over 1,000 phones. We can scale it to any user. There's just some cost benefits once you hit that 1,000 user mark, 1,000 phone mark, that we can take advantage of. So WebEx calling dedicated instance delivers what customers want, right? So just like we talked, no disruptions, that familiar experience, the same features, same devices. This is big in public sector, right? Budgets are getting tighter. Funding is always an issue. And if you go and roll out a fleet of 3,000 new phones to your end users, that's going to raise some eyebrows if you're making cuts in other places, right? So you're able to move to the cloud, get off your off-prem deployment, get off that VMware dependence, move into the cloud. So you're getting those updates, you're getting the refreshes, getting the new features, position you to move to a cloud-based system that was cloud native, without having to have a visual impact for your end users. Security, right? Giving that redundancy, giving an emergency responder for 911, the dedicated Cisco security that you've known for years with Communications Manager, and then those customizations, right? Open platform APIs, WebEx calling, true WebEx calling interoperability, third-party PBX interoperability, right? As mergers and acquisitions happen, if consolidation happens, right? You may be bringing in organizations that don't have Cisco Communications Manager, so being able to integrate into those third-party PBXs during that migration period is powerful. Those end user self-care, PSTN options, right? Leverage your existing PSTN options. And then that extended ROI, right? Anytime we look at moving to a cloud-based system, we want to look at that total cost of ownership is so by moving to dedicated instance or WebEx or MGT hybrid calling, you get to keep your existing phones, existing gateways, existing phone systems, integrations. No extra training for your administrators and end users need to take place. In the middle of the night, we come in like ninjas. We pull out your on-prem system, move it to the cloud. The end users come in the next day and they notice nothing different. Everything is still there, and it's a complete collaboration, security, and network solution hosted by Cisco in the Cisco data center, secured by Cisco. An overview of what that architecture looks like, right? Is it's Cisco Unified Communication Manager in the cloud. Again, what you have on-prem, just running in Cisco's data centers, on Cisco's hardware, on Cisco's VMware, less things for you to maintain to support, less things for you to keep up, less licensing costs from VMware, right? You get Communications Manager, emergency responder, unique connections, Expressway, Jabber, WebEx app, scalability, agility, able to integrate an existing IT system. And it's highly customizable because Communication Manager is it's your instance. You're not sharing it with anybody else. So you're able to customize it to meet your needs. And then talking about survivable remote telephony, SRST, it's that same experience, right? You still use those gateways, you still use those analog SIP trunk PRI lines you have online, and it's a seamless transition to failover and restore. And your end users are used to that type of activity when you have a WAN outage or have an internet outage, right? You still have that communication system up and powered. So a couple of features here, highlight, right? We all know what Communications Manager is capable of, right? That voice and video, voicemail, integrated messaging, meetings if you purchase them, right? Instant messaging, mobile remote access, 911 notification, call handling, integrations with applications such as Single Wire and Formacast. Then let's talk about MGT hybrid cloud calling. We developed this solution to really target a lot of our customers that don't have those 1,000 phones, that have that 500 phones, 250 phones, even 100 phones, right? It's a solution to move you to the cloud into our MGT data center, right? We're not in the Cisco data, you're in the MGT data center. You're running on our hardware, our VMware, behind our security, backed by our SOC, backed by our NOC, that keeps everything up to date, keeps everything running, and make sure you have that reliability, right? Just like with WebEx dedicated instance, same applications, same environment, same interaction for your end users and your administration. So some of the unique features, right, is we have a cloud calling feature that's similar to hybrid deployment, right? We can leave an on-prem server if you'd like, right? If you want a subscriber on-prem for that extra peace of mind and survivability, right? You decide I don't want a SRST when I go into it, when my connection goes down. I want a full experience. We can keep that subscriber on site. We maintain that subscriber. MGT owns that subscriber. We maintain it. We update it. We keep it secure. Right, we create a private instance. We operate everything end to end. We can offer managed services, which we talk about at the end for the VMware for the managed servers. Right, we keep those servers updated. We keep them on the latest VMware security patches. Maintain the VPN connection. Maintain the firewalls in our data center, and then provides the tier one support and can work with Cisco to troubleshoot there. You have the ability to move your telco relationship from your on-prem into our data center to really have that cloud powered experience, right? So if you lose, the power goes out at your site, calls can still come in, go to voicemail, get routed to mobile clients, things like that. So let's talk about next generation cloud calling solutions or cloud native, cloud born offerings we have here at MGT. So the first thing we're going to talk about is MGT Voice. So MGT Voice is a complete communication solution, right? Just like we talked about, those four devices, those four applications, those four um, uh, collaboration interactions, right? So we have the desktop, we have the soft phone, we have the mobile, we have the video conference, right? We can empower connected hybrid workforce for your organization. Plug and play phones, right? We deliver the phones. The phones are delivered pre-configured to work with your guys with your environment, right? We ship it out. Many times we can offer you a free phone as part of a promotion, right? To lower that capital outlay and just focus on the OpEx expenses. No special setup is required. We do all the configuration. We help you. We work with you. Have a couple different deployment methods, whether it's white glove, we come out, we install anything, or it's a guided one where we configure the phone, we ship them out to you, you plug them in, you configure the users, things like that. But one of the most powerful things we're seeing from MGT Voice and drawing a lot of interest from customers is our integration with Microsoft Teams for collaboration, right? Microsoft Teams Voice is a powerful platform. There, we'll talk about some of its features as well, but giving you a full powered phone system that plugs into your Microsoft Teams experience doesn't require additional license, is a full feature phone system, can take advantage of some call centers, queue, texting, and archive functionality is really powerful, and what customers are seeing are really attracted to when they look at MGT Voice. So what is MGT Voice for Teams Advanced, right? It's embedded voice and SMS for Microsoft Teams. It's an application plugin that plugs into the Microsoft Teams app. As you can see here, it's just another applications on their sidebar, fully embedded, no middleware, license free. You don't require that Microsoft Teams SKU. Can provide the users a desk phone tied to theirs, provide SMS capabilities within Teams. It's a single app experience to give your users, right, one application. They can do all their collaboration communication in Microsoft Teams. They don't have to jump between different applications. Advanced capabilities, right? Unlimited domestic calling can provide you a free phone to roll out. Business SMS, call forward, hold, call queue, like auto attendance, auto reporting analytics, voicemail transcription is all handled by MGT Voice. Your users can use Microsoft Teams for chat, instant messaging, video messaging, file sharing, cloud storage, things like that as a single sign-on for your users. They don't have to remember different passwords. They don't have to remember different applications. They launch their Teams app and they're ready to go to collaborate and communicate with all users of the organization and external users. So what are some four reasons people are choosing MGT Voice with the embedded Teams experience, right? So that seamless single app experience we talked about, right? One app to rule them all. Reliability, stay connected if there's a Teams experience. Because we're not reliant on Microsoft, you can still use MGT Voice if there's a Teams outage. Built-in advanced archiving, local hands-on tech support. This is the most important thing customers are really enjoying, is that it's supported by us. If you go with Microsoft, you have to go with Microsoft support. With MGT Voice, you come to us. We're your tier one support. We provide all your end user support. We provide all your support for you, and then work to resolve any issues that you have. The next platform we're going to talk about is Cisco WebEx Calling. So Cisco WebEx Calling is Cisco's cloud native, cloud born system. It's developed in the cloud, built for that agile workforce, right? Being able to get crystal clear audio, background noise cancellation, intelligent analytics, some AI features as well. Inclusive allows people to work from anywhere with complete call capabilities, right? Regardless of where the user choose to use their communication device, whether it's a desk phone, whether it's a soft phone, whether it's a mobile device, same experience, same features. There's no limitations, and it's flexible, right? We can do that cloud migration at your own pace, right? So we talked about the dedicated instance. We can move you to dedicated instance, and then migrate your users to WebEx calling as you have handsets availability or you want to take advantage of those features. Just like all the phone systems we'll talk about today, right? Those business class interactions, robust calling features, easily move calls between devices, right? I start my call on my desk phone with a click of a button. I can move it to my mobile phone. I can move it to my desk phone. With a click of the button, we can escalate to a meeting and being in a meeting together. That built-in Cisco security and reliability that you're used to and rely upon. Central admin portal using the WebEx Control Hub for their management allows you easy management, really user focused. You go to the user, not the device. You go to the user to manage the user and then what devices and experiences are associated with them. Again, multiple communication endpoints, whether it's a desk phone, whether it's a soft phone in the WebEx meetings, whether it's a mobile device, a video unit, headsets provided by Cisco, noise cancellation built in, all those features. And then we have some flexible PSTN options with WebEx calling as well, right? Cisco provides a calling plan. There's a per user unlimited usage with the DID, or there's some flexible calling plans to use from some leading companies that plug directly into the Cisco cloud and can give you all those advantages of cloud calling while helping reduce some of your costs, reducing less on-prem. If you do have existing PSTN relationships, telco relationships you need to maintain for contractual obligations, we can take advantage of those in most cases and extend that cloud calling, extend that local PSTN connection into the cloud calling environment. Next up, we're going to talk about Microsoft Teams calling. I know a lot of SLED customers out there have Microsoft 5 level licenses that include Teams calling, so there's a really attractive option to them as well, right? Teams Phone is a smart way to bring calling into your workflow, right? Built in that similar to MQT calling, that one app experience, right? Being able to do everything from Microsoft Teams, powered has the Copilot integration, has the AI to really improve clarity, reduce interruptions, and provide that smoother calling experience for your users and the people they're communicating with. AI capabilities, right, to background noise isolation, voice isolation, right? Really give you that crystal clear audio, regardless of where you're working from and what kind of environment you're working in as well. Right, full duplex sound, reduce reverberation to make sure you're getting your message across, regardless of who you're talking to or communicating with. And then really making that smarter calling in the workflow, right? Being able to talk to somebody in a Teams chat, click a button, and now you're on a voice call. Click a button, now you're in a meeting, right? To collaborate there, sharing documents, things like that. Fully integrated with Microsoft 365, chat, directory, call tabs, contact cards are all in that Teams application. Really giving your users that ability to have one app to do most of their stuff in, right? The Teams app is very powerful, has your calendar in there, has your chat, more and more emails are moving to chat, has your phone in there, right? So this really empowers your end users to be more efficient and not have to juggle and manage multiple applications, and still supports those desk phones they may be used to. AI powered calling with Copilot and Microsoft Teams, right? Call recap. How many times you've been on a phone call goes on longer than you expected, and sometimes you forget what you talked about in the conversation, right? Microsoft Teams and the platforms we're talking about here all have something similar that allows you to get those AI generated notes after call actions, right? Gives you insight on what your calls were about. Be able to go back and quickly say, okay, I talked to Colleen earlier today. This is what we discussed. These are my action items, right? Be able to draft notes during call and highlight key points such as numbers and tasks, things like that. And then the more AI on the Microsoft Teams, right, to enhance reliability with the proactive network monitoring automated systems, right? Having AI monitor that for you, built-in fault tolerance to make sure your calls are always connected and available. For example, if you're using a mobile device, do I use Wi-Fi? Do I use mobile data? What's the best way to get that, right? Being able to have a survivable branch appliance in the event of an outage to maintain that those phones continue, that internal communication can continue. And then trust and financially backed with security and by Microsoft in their data centers, hosted by their application engineering team and supported by them. And then of different types of handsets and devices we can interact with, right? Is it webcams? Is it headset speakers? Is it a desk phone for those locations that require a hard phone or require a physical device to be there, right? We can maintain and support multiple different device types, multiple different interactions with the system for your end users. Again, bringing that collaboration platform to where they're at, not making them go somewhere for that collaboration platform. And then Zoom Phone, the last one we'll talk about today, right? Really, Zoom Phone was built in the cloud. Zoom Meetings, we're all familiar with Zoom Meetings, the Zoom platform. Zoom identified just that let's make phone better too, right? And let's build phone into the application the users are already using, right? So we're able to build in those robust phone capabilities, call handling, call flow, transferring into a seamless workflow in that Zoom application while simplifying IT operation, optimizing the way your end users work, empower the modern user, and then make sure you're feeling confident with that security and performance from your phone system. And more importantly, the emergency services, right? Making sure that when someone calls 911 or someone needs emergency help, we can handle those calls efficiently, right? Setting up locations, being able to provide the PSAP, provide the dispatchers with the correct location, prompting the caller to confirm the location if they don't have correct information. And then we can also route to your emergency calls to an internal safety team. So you're not waiting for those responders to show up. You know what's going on prem. And then simplify management, right? Studies have shown by Zoom that 37% less management and operating costs by moving to Zoom Phone and moving to a unified Zoom platform for your communications, right? Connect the way that works for you, PSTN connectivity, or bring your own PSTN as well. Easily developed a robust telephone network, right? User focused, user centric. I have a user. Do they have a soft phone? Do they have a desk phone? I go to that user. I configure what calling device is best for them. And then management at scale. When whether you have 10 users or you have 4,000 users, right? You want to be able to easily manage it and apply policies and make changes quickly and easily. And that's what that simplified management brings to you. Here's an example of some of the Zoom administrator tools for that scale, right? Unified meetings, phone and chat administration, managing the user's complete collaboration communication portfolio in one interface, being able to set roles, permission, and templates, being able to see dashboards, provisioning policy control, to auto attend IVR management, contact administration, all from one user interface, giving you real-time reporting and analytics for what the usage has been, who's using their phone, how they're using their phone, call 911, call detailed records, all of this built into the Zoom administrative platform. And then empowering the modern workforce, like what we talked about, bringing communication to where your end users are, not making them come to where the communications is. Work effectively on the go, improve productivity with AI, boost collaboration, connect seamlessly, right? Being able to provide that phone robust communication collaboration platform is important. And here's an example, right, of working effortlessly on the go. I start a call on my cell phone. I can move my call to my desktop app, and then I can move that call to my desk phone and move them back and forth, right? So you can be on an hour-long call and be in multiple different locations. The user stays connected, your phone call stays connected. Other than background noise, they don't know anything's moving, right? So you can start in the car, move to a conference room, come back to your desk, go back to the conference room, go back to your car, all in one seamless interaction. And the device ecosystem supported by Zoom is wide, right? Polycom, Yealink, Cisco, audio codes, Algo, Spectralink, right? We can provide multiple different handset types, interaction with paging intercom, session border controllers, conference phones. And then let's talk about integrations. So application integrations are always important, right? Most phone systems nowadays are not just a phone system. They tie into paging, they tie into other applications, they tie into call recording, they tie into contact centers, attendant consoles. So being able to make sure all your platforms are able to manage the integrations you have is important. And all the platforms we talked about today all have those integrations in some sort or another, some way or another. Um, so we want to make sure that when you're evaluating your phone system, you're looking at all those application integrations and making sure that you can take advantage of them and not having to buy new and to move to the cloud. And one of the most important ones we've seen with a lot of our customers is integration with single wire and Formacast, right? So this is the ability to trigger a message from your phone system from other ones and be able to deliver that message back to your phone system to IP-based speakers, to digital signage, to computer desktop, to mobile devices. So in the event you need to get a message out importantly and quickly and concisely, that's where single wire and Formacast and tied with your phone system is important. All the systems we talked about today integrate with the single wire and Formacast. All of them are support all the features of Informacast, being able to pick up a phone, dial it, being able to receive audio on the phone. So that's one of the important interactions integrations to take even in mind. And when looking at building a modern collaboration system and communication system is how are we reaching the users that don't have phones in the event of emergency? And that's where we leverage single wire and Formacast there. And I invite you to visit our website and review our single wire and Formacast presentation we did a couple months back. So let's talk about managed services, right? All the platforms we talked about today are great. They're easy to manage. Very little management overhead. But sometimes you don't have the staff. Sometimes you need an extra hand, and that's where MGT can come in with our managed communication services and really give you different levels of management, right? Do you just want monitoring and performance? Do you just want to monitor when the system's up? Do you want to make sure that all your voice gateways, all your voice routers, any kind of on-prem equipment, any kind of cloud environment is active and working and supported? Do you want to manage that communication infrastructure, whether it's on-prem or in the cloud? Do you want us to manage your telco interactions? Do you want to make sure that we test things like 911, right? We can do that under that monitoring and performance management and still have your team manage the system and do day-to-day operations. Or with our element management offering, we can do your moves, adds, and changes, right? You need to add a new user, let us know, we can configure that phone. Do you want to keep your software up to date for on-prem? We can do that as well. Do you want incident troubleshooting, right? When you have an issue, do you want us to take care of that so your staff isn't burdened down by tackling that? Do you want help with RMA assistance if something fails, getting something replaced, right? That. So we're able to support and provide managed communications for Cisco on-prem, hybrid, all in the cloud, WebEx, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, MGT Voice. Includes these managed services, and then we're able to give you flexible and see what hour do you need, right? If you only need 8 to 5, we can give you 8 to 5. If you're running some sort of public safety or vital services, we can give you 24/7 coverage. We have 350 engineers placed across the country, certified to help support with our managed services and our communications. We create lifecycle management, tell you when things are coming into flight, things tell you when there's security risks, customized service and engagement playbooks, voice communication, networking expertise, and a comprehensive solution, right? We're able to not only manage your communications, we can manage your entire network stack as well and go through and if you have a voice problem and we manage your network too, we can follow that all the way through and get that path, right? We're not just going to focus on that communications aspect. We're going to look at the entire path and see kind of what's causing the issue and not just focus solely on the voice and give you and pigeonhole you and say, okay, oh, well, this isn't a voice problem, it's a network problem. You need to go call it. We're able to support you from end to end because of our manufacturer partnerships, because of our manufacturer certifications. So you might be asking yourself at the end of this, what solution is right for your organization, right? We presented multiple different options, right? Because we realize not every solution is the best fit for every organization. Every organization is different. Every organization has different needs. Every organization, even similar organizations, everyone is different. So how do we help you there, right? We provide pre-sales design support from our MGT collaboration specialists, right? We're going to come in, we're going to ask, look at what platforms you're currently using. What integrations are important to you? What are you testing? What hardware do you have out there? What software do you have out there? What are your main pain points? What do you absolutely hate about your system today that you wish could be better? Because the worst thing you want to do, right, is to a to move to the cloud and have the same pain points you had before, right? You're going to have an end user out there that's been for 30 years, has hated the way they've done their job forever. Let us fix that with your migration, and that helps you smooth out the migration, right? We don't want to just pick you up from on-prem, dump you in the cloud and say, this is how it is. We're going to look at what's best for your organization going forward. Is that a change in dial plan? Is that a change in how things operate, call flow, things like that? What features are important to your end users, right? What do your end users, depending on their job function, do on a day-to-day basis? A secretary is going to have a different requirement than a teacher in the classroom or a clerk or an assistant, right? Making sure we identify what features are important to every class of end user and make sure we can meet those and make sure we're designing a system and a deployment that really meets those needs. And then do you need that assistance with monitoring or routine tasks? That's a move that and changes. Do you want to do that yourself? Do you do that yourself now? Do you have somebody retiring that used to do it, that you don't have the resources or don't have the manpower to train somebody up? Let us take that burden off of you, whether it's simple just monitoring the network or or monitoring the system or complete management. So we sit down in the pre-sales process and we go through all this information. We look at your phone system, we look at your phone list, we look at your features, look at your integration, look at your overall safety plan, and make sure that we can meet any current regulations, make sure we meet all the requirements of your organization. I really deliver those business outcomes to both your end users and your clients you're serving, whoever they may be. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michael Rochman, and he's going to talk about the SPURR process and kind of how SPURR works, who SPURR is, and what procurement looks like. So, Michael, it's off to you.
Thank you very much. And I hope if anybody has any questions, they'll put those in the chat, whether it's about our work or AMS.NET MGT. So SPURR, some of you may be familiar with SPURR. We've been around since 1989. We're a JPA, Joint Powers Authority. We're a public agency. We do procurement on an aggregated level for all kinds of utility services, solar and energy storage, electric vehicle charging, natural gas, electricity, telecommunications and networking. And I'm going to talk about what we call our telecommunications and networking program on the next slide. Well, actually, yeah, there we go. We'll talk about so go back one slide real quick. I'm sorry about that. Is that oh, back. There we go. Sorry. So I just wanted to point out that we have over 300 member districts and we've had over 100 participate in this particular program. It's also open to other public agencies like community colleges and state universities and cities and counties. And we've had all of those types of organizations participate in our programs over the years, whether they're public agencies, whether they're members of SPURR or not. We cannot serve individuals or for-profits. Okay, go to the next slide, please. Right, so what do we do exactly? We do the same things that you would do if you were looking for the services and goods that we were looking for. We issue a request for proposal. We publicize it in the same ways that you would do it on our website, on online platforms. If it's E-rate eligible, we do it on the, through a Form 470. Voice, of course, is no longer supported by E-rate, so we have other ways of publicizing. We do online newspaper ads, typically in the Sacramento Bee and the Orange County Register, so those are both in print and online. We email the RFP to everybody that we can think of who would be interested, industry participants, consultants, and the like. We really try to get as much interest as possible in our RFPs. And then we go through the process just the same way that you would do it, right? We are answering vendor questions. We are issuing clarifications. We're evaluating responses. We use price as our primary factor, but not our sole factor. It's usually a 40% factor, and we look a lot at the capacities of the respondents to see who can really handle the work that we have in mind. We've been doing this in this program since 2009. AMS.net LLC has won a number of master contracts from SPURR over the years. They're currently a part of MGT, so that contract transfer, the master contract transferred over. The one we're here to talk about today is hosted communications of UCaaS. And we also have contracts with AMS.net and, of course, other winning vendors in other categories for networking and wireless equipment, internal connections. Next slide. So how is this good for you? Well, we've just done all the things that you would have done. And so it's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort in doing the competitive process and making the awards. We're getting deep discounts. All of this is available on our website. We're not today talking about something that's E-rate eligible, but where there is something that's E-rate eligible, like wireless equipment, we have the Form 470 that if you're a member of SPURR, you can use. Also saves you a lot of time. We work with all the E-rate consultants, so they know us and we know them. This is a program that's been tested since 2009, as I've said, with I think we're up to 130 different public agencies that have participated for thousands of different orders over the past 15, 16 years. So this is not a new program. This is something that's been tried and tested over a long period of time. Next slide. So these are the master contracts that we have with MGT, now AMS.net. We have the non-E-rate contract, which is what we've been talking about today. MGT Voice, Cisco, Microsoft Teams, SingleWire, and the associated support, managed communications, cabling, professional services is all in the contract. All the pricing, all the SKUs are available through our website. You can see that just by going to our site, proving that you're not a bot, and then you can have access to all this information. You don't even have to ask anybody for it. It's immediately available to you. We also, of course, have E-rate eligible contracts for networking, internal connections, and wireless networking under the master contracts that you see there on the right. And again, those have been very popular with K-12s in particular, but also outside of the K-12 space in the public agency world. Next question. I'm sorry, next slide. Okay, so here's the ordering process. So I don't know if you want me to talk about this, but I guess I will because I'm talking, Edwin. You basically agree with AMS.net on what it is that you want to order. You put that all gets put into a quote file that's attached to an authorization order, which is item 4 there, which ties together the procurement process and the technology order. So it's good. We developed it for the E-rate context where we would get requests from USAC SLD to verify that the particular purchase was being done in connection with a particular RFP process. But the ATO works well in any other instance. When you want to show your boss, when you want to show a member of the community, when you want to show any interested party, what did you buy and how did you procure it? This document does that. It's a very simple process. Requires basically a signature from AMS.net, MGT, from your district and from us, and it ties together the process and the quote. Filing an ATO is an authorization order. It's not an obligation to order, so you can fill out one of these, file it with us, cancel the project later if you want. It's not a problem from our perspective. It may be a problem from your perspective, but it's not like we are requiring you to go ahead with any project. And people like to do that because then it can be ratified by their boards at a later date, and then everything can move forward, and you can have a project implementation to whatever extent is suitable for you. Next slide. Okay, so this is how to use the program. I think we've kind of talked about this. This summarizes it together. If this were an E-rate product, you could have used our Form 470 if you were a SPURR member, or if you had given us a letter of authorization, or if you joined SPURR at any time prior to filing your Form 471. There's a case on this. It's cited here in the slide 331090 from USAC SLD that talks about these deadlines, which is a clarification. It was always true, but it's nice to have an E-rate case certifying or clarifying that you can join SPURR after we did our RFP, but before you file your 471 and still use our Form 470, if that makes sense for those of you who are familiar with E-rate. Again, emphasizing that today the technology that we're talking about is not supported by E-rate, but if we have any K-12 folks on this call, and I know we do, using SPURR for E-rate is something that you may also have done or want to consider doing. Next slide. If you're not using this for E-rate, if you don't get E-rate, if the product and service doesn't qualify for E-rate, you're still benefiting. We're still saving you time. We're still saving you money. You're still getting a great price. You're still getting transparent documentation, stuff you can look at it in advance, which I think is really important. All you have to do is go to our website. And so your procurement people should be highly confident that this is a good deal for you and that it's well documented, which is what your procurement people want. They want good documentation. We've been doing this for 16 years, so we know what they want. Next slide. This is a slightly older list of districts who've participated in our program. I need to get it updated for 2025, but you can see it's a long list, and this is actually just through the M's. If you go to the next slide, I think we have the rest of them. There we go. So it's a long list of public agencies, primarily K-12s, but not exclusively, who have participated in this program. So it's, as I said, it's a tried and true vehicle. Next slide. That's it. That's it for me.
Yeah, thank you for that overview, Michael. We had one question is if for non-E-rate, right? Since UCaaS is not E-rate eligible, customer just has to authorize joining SPURR via their internal process, and then they can submit an ATO, correct?
Yes, that would be the preferred method. If you're a city or a county, for example, you're not eligible to join SPURR, so you'd have to justify it outside of being a JPA member. And we could talk about that if you want. But for a K-12 county office of ed or a community college district, yeah, you can join SPURR at any time. It does require execution of a JPA agreement and a district board authorization. We already have over 300 members, so there's a high likelihood if you're K to 14, you're already a member.
Well, thank you for that. I don't see any other questions. Thank you everybody for joining. We have additional references available at request. We're more than welcome to reach out to your account manager or reach out to Tom Vasconi. As well, and we can put you in contact with the correct account manager. We'll have these contact information in the follow up email as well if you want to reach out to Michael as well for any questions about SPURR. With that, I don't see any chats. We'll hang around for a little while, see if any questions pop up in chat. Again, thank you for joining today. Hope this was vital. If you want to see any of these solutions in person, do a demo, do an overview, do a comparison, please let us know. We'll be happy to do that.